Understanding the worst foods that feed cancer cells. Welcome to another insightful video from Mind Body Balance 459. Today we're diving into a topic that's as crucial as it is concerning: the worst foods that feed cancer cells. We often hear about the benefits of a healthy diet, but rarely do we discuss the darker side of our meals. Did you know that certain foods can actually contribute to the growth and multiplication of cancer cells? Some of these culprits might be lurking in your pantry right now, masquerading as everyday items. It's a sobering thought, isn't it? But don't worry, knowledge is power. Understanding these dietary pitfalls is the first step toward making healthier, cancer-fighting food choices. So are you ready to uncover the truth about the worst foods that feed cancer cells? Before we get started, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Let's dive in. The role of diet in cancer. Before we get into the specifics, it's important to understand why certain foods can feed cancer cells. Imagine your body as a bustling city, and within that city are millions of cells, all with specific jobs that keep the city running smoothly. However, sometimes a cell goes rogue, behaving in ways it shouldn't. These rogue cells are what we know as cancer cells. Unlike normal cells, which have a cycle of growth, division, and death, cancer cells don't play by these rules. They grow and divide uncontrollably, refusing to die when they should. This uncontrolled growth forms a mass of tissue known as a tumor, the connection between diet and cancer. But how do these cells get the energy to fuel this growth? Like every other cell in our body, they get their energy from the food we eat. Certain types of foods can provide an optimal environment for these rogue cells to thrive. For instance, foods high in sugar, unhealthy fats, and certain additives can trigger inflammation and oxidative stress in the body, creating an ideal setting for cancer cells to grow and multiply. Furthermore, the food we consume can influence our body's hormonal balance. Certain foods can increase the levels of hormones that promote cell growth, such as insulin and insulin-like growth factor. With more of these growth-promoting hormones circulating in our bodies, cancer cells get the signal to grow and divide even more. The impact of sugar on cancer. One of the worst culprits when it comes to feeding cancer cells is sugar. We're all aware of the sweetness of sugar, but its potential impact on our health is far from sugary. To understand why sugar is problematic, it's essential to delve into the biology of our body's cells. All cells, including cancer cells, rely on glucose, a type of sugar, for energy. The problem arises when there's an overconsumption of sugar, leading to an excess of glucose in our bodies. How sugar feeds cancer cells. This excess glucose can lead to inflammation. But what's the connection between inflammation and cancer? Inflammation is our body's response to injury or infection. It's a good thing when it's short-lived and controlled. A high sugar diet, however, can contribute to chronic inflammation, which can harm our cells. This damage might cause mutations in our DNA, which can potentially lead to cancer. In addition to inflammation, a high sugar diet can lead to insulin resistance. Insulin is a hormone that allows our cells to take in glucose for energy. However, when our bodies become resistant to insulin, our cells aren't able to use glucose effectively. This can lead to higher levels of glucose in the blood, which, as we've already discussed, can feed cancer cells. Natural versus added sugars. It's also important to note that not all sugars are created equal. Natural sugars found in fruits, vegetables, and dairy products are part of a healthy diet. The real culprits are added sugars found in processed foods and beverages, which are often consumed in excess. While it might be hard to cut out sugar completely, it's important to be mindful of your intake. Remember, moderation is key, and making small, gradual changes to your diet can make a big difference in your overall health. Processed foods and cancer risk. Next on our list of foods that feed cancer cells are processed foods. These are the convenient, ready-to-eat items that line the shelves of our supermarkets. They're easy, they're quick, but they're also a hotbed for ingredients that can contribute to cancer growth. The hidden dangers of processed foods. Processed foods often have high levels of sugars, unhealthy fats, and salts, ingredients that can lead to obesity. Obesity, in turn, is a significant risk factor for many types of cancer, including breast, colon, rectum, kidney, esophagus, pancreatic, and endometrial cancers. In fact, research shows that excess body weight contributes to as many as 1 in 5 cancer-related deaths. But the threats don't stop at obesity. Processed foods are also notorious for their additives and preservatives. These are chemicals added to prolong shelf life, enhance flavor, or improve texture. However, many of these substances, such as nitrates and nitrites, have been linked to an increased risk of cancer, particularly colorectal cancer, artificial sweeteners and trans fats. Furthermore, some processed foods contain artificial sweeteners, which while low in calories, may not be as innocent as they seem. Some studies suggest a potential link between artificial sweeteners and an increased risk of certain types of cancer, though further research is still needed. Then there's the issue of trans fats. These are a type of fat found in many processed foods that can not only lead to obesity and heart disease, but also increase your risk of certain types of cancer. Choosing whole foods. In summary, processed foods may be convenient, but they carry a hefty health toll. They can contribute to obesity, a known cancer risk factor, and contain harmful additives, preservatives, and other ingredients that may increase your risk of cancer. So what can you do? Try to stick to whole foods as much as possible. Whole foods are those that have been minimally processed and retain their natural nutrients. They're fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. Foods that nourish your body rather than burden it. Remember, your diet is one of the most powerful tools you have for protecting your health. Make it count. Red and processed meats. Our third category includes red and processed meats. Indeed, the sizzling steak or mouth-watering bacon that you cannot resist may be causing more harm than you realize. There's a strong link between the consumption of red and processed meats and an increased risk of certain types of cancer, with colorectal cancer being a prime example. The risks of red and processed meats. Red meat, such as beef, lamb, and pork, and processed meats like hot dogs, sausages, and deli meats are rich in saturated fats and cholesterol. Too many of these can lead to obesity, which is a risk factor for multiple types of cancer. But it's not just about the fat content. When these meats are cooked at high temperatures, such as grilling or barbecuing, certain harmful substances can form. One of these is heterocyclic amines, HCAs, which are chemicals that can alter DNA and promote cancer development. Another is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, which have also been identified as carcinogens. Processed meats have an additional issue. They often contain nitrates and nitrites, which are preservatives that can form nitrosamines in the body. Nitrosamines are another group of compounds known to cause cancer. Balancing meat consumption. Now, this is not to say you should completely eliminate red and processed meats from your diet. They are a good source of protein, iron, and other essential nutrients. But balance is key. The World Health Organization advises that consuming more than 700 grams of red meat a week increases cancer risk. To put it in perspective, that's about the same as 4 large steaks. So it's about moderation, not elimination. Opt for lean cuts, limit the frequency of consumption, and consider alternative protein sources like poultry, fish, or plant-based proteins. And remember, how you cook your meat matters too. Opt for lower temperature cooking methods, such as baking or stewing, to reduce the formation of harmful compounds, making healthier choices. Consider limiting your intake of red and processed meats to reduce your cancer risk. It's a small change that can have a big impact on your health. Remember, every step you take toward a healthier lifestyle is a step away from cancer. As we conclude, while no food guarantees cancer prevention, being mindful of your diet can play a significant role in your overall health. We've explored how certain foods like sugar, processed foods, and red and processed meats can potentially feed cancer cells. Sugar, often hidden in our favorite treats, can lead to inflammation and insulin resistance, creating an environment conducive to cancer growth. Processed foods loaded with artificial ingredients and unhealthy fats can disrupt our body's natural rhythm, potentially triggering harmful processes. Lastly, red and processed meats, while delicious, carry certain risks due to their high content of carcinogenic compounds. The key takeaway here is not to eliminate these foods entirely, but to consume them in moderation, complementing them with a diet rich in fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. By making informed choices and understanding the impact of our dietary habits, we can take proactive steps toward a healthier future. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you find this video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to Mind Body Balance 459. Share with your loved ones. Knowledge is power, and together we can make healthier choices for a brighter, cancer-free future. Stay healthy and happy. Asterisk. Remember, always consult with a healthcare professional or nutritionist for personalized dietary advice and recommendations.